Hello everybody, welcome to Point Addis. We are shooting again on my Bronica ETRS Medium Format film camera. Today I'm using Portra 160 film, which has already got loaded. I've also got a roll of Portra 400 here in the bag in case we get carried away and end up going through a whole roll and want to do some more. I've already done a quick warm-up photo on the way in. There was some, I think it's hang gliding, the parachute looking thing. Is that hang gliding? Hey Siri, what's hang gliding?
To do that, you'll need to be online.
I have no reception. I think it's hang gliding, the one with the parachute where they like fly around. There was people doing that, and I quickly got the camera out and got a photo of them over the cliffs, which I think, if I expose it right, will look pretty cool. But I guess I won't know for a few days until the film gets developed, which is part of the fun, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna wander down over to the beach now. Thought I'd start the video at this lovely little pond, but it's nothing too interesting down here where I am, so we're gonna go for a bit of a walk and start finding some photos, so let's do it. So if you watched my last video, you probably know by now that I'm super new to shooting film, using film, everything film. And something I learned from the last video was that when I'm metering, I think with the previous time I used the camera, I underexpose a bit more than I would like to. So I got my highlights looking really nice and sort of captured them well. But everything in terms of my shadows, a lot of the time my foreground in those shots was pretty dark and a little bit underexposed, so I wasn't quite getting much detail in my sort of darker areas of the scene. So today I think my main goal is going to be to get a little bit better at metering and try to expose more evenly, even if that means losing some detail in my highlights to recover some more of my shadows. And just trying to find a bit more of a happy medium between the two, which I think for this shot, because I'm shooting directly into the sun, is going to be a bit tricky, but we're going to give it a go anyway. Because I quite like this pretty open, wide composition that I've got going. With all that being said, I think for this shot too, I want to get a bit of silhouette happening, so I'm probably going to expose my highlights a little bit more, but I also do want to keep some detail in everything else. So we're just going to have a go at metering and see what we can do. So you guys won't be able to see it here in this video, but running in the beach, I've got my shot sort of going, tracing the backlit cliffs and edges of the coastline we've got running down here on the Great Ocean Road. So the app I use is just called Light Meter. It's probably blown out on here, but I'll show you guys in a second. So I just punch in the aperture I want, f16. No, I don't want to pay for premium. And I'm just going to meter for the brightest part of my image. This is going to be blown out no matter what I do, I think. And there's actually another one of those hang gliders that's just flown over. I'm not sure if it's in the shot yet or not. It is. So I'm going to hopefully expose it and get him in the shot before he goes over the coastline. So f16, 1/500th of a second. Pretty sure this is going to be blown out, but we're going to try anyway. Cool, so f16, 1/500th. Let's give it a shot. I have very low confidence that works, but it's alright, we're having fun, aren't we? So I found my next shot here, which is going to be kind of similar to the previous one. This one, we're going to try to use a bit more of the sand in the beach as my foreground. And I actually like the idea of having part of my foreground out of focus this one. So I've got some sand right in the very bottom of my shot here, which I'm going to hopefully knock out of focus a little bit. I'm still going to have to use a pretty narrow aperture to be able to get this exposed right, being that we're shooting still towards the sun in a pretty bright scene. So I'm going to see how I go with doing that and just eyeball it to try to get that out of focus. Something I'm liking here is the footprints in sand making these little trails running coming down. I think they look really cool. And because there's no one on the beach except for me right now, like there's no one else wandering around out there, it kind of makes the scene look kind of desolate and abandoned to have all these footprints but no actual people out there. Maybe I'm being too pretentious and overanalyzing it, but I don't know, it kind of gives me that vibe, I think. Now we do have some blue sky happening. There's something I want to try to sort of make those colours a bit more vivid and also help me deal with some of the glare we're getting off the sunlight hitting the water. I'm actually going to try to use a polarising filter on my Bronica here for the first time. I've never used filters on here before, and I don't know if that's something I need to do more research into before I do, but I'm going to give it a go. But to do that, I need to borrow the filter off you guys, so probably way too overexposed now, isn't it? It's better. So I'm going to give this a try. With this film camera at this stage and where I'm at in using film, I'm not expecting greatness with any shot I do. They're just kind of trial and error at this point. Just for me learning how to expose properly and the different things I need to learn about it and all that type of stuff. So just a bit of fun at this stage. So I'm just eyeballing the polarizer look. I can see it's making the blues in the sky pop a little bit more and also give me a little bit of reduction in the glare. So f16, 1/500th. Not sure with this aperture if I'm going to be able to get my foreground really out of focus, but we'll see how it turns out. Looking straight down the coast. Need to move back a bit, I think. Okay, so I've come off the beach and come back up the stairs towards the car park. I think my plan is to get this photo, and then we've still got about an hour before the sun actually goes down. The sun's going down in this direction, but because I'm not super fussed about the actual sunset itself, I think I'm going to head down to the other side of the beach and be down there when golden hour starts happening, and maybe get some photos on the beach down there, hitting the cliffs, and try to get through this roll. I've only done 4 shots so far, so got a little bit to get through, I think. So as you would have seen, I've been doing a lot of little movements with the tripod and the camera, just trying to compose this right, which is a little bit tricky on this 70mm lens. I would like something a little bit wider, would probably be a big help here, but I've only got the 70mm, so what can I do? I've got it to a place where I'm pretty happy with it, where the stairs are leading us down all the way to the beach, and then those patterns in the sand that we were using before sort of connect onto the steps, and then lead us up into the rugged coastline, which takes us throughout the whole frame. Now the tricky part with this one is I'm going to want to expose my foreground a bit more to actually show some detail in the steps here. 1/125th for the steps, and then up in further into the shot I'm being told 1/750th, 1/500th even in some spots that are towards the bright areas. So I think I'll do f16 1/250th, which should be right in the middle ish. We might get a little bit of highlights burnt out, but I think that's okay. So 1/250th, f16, and we'll get the shot. Okay, so I made it like 30 seconds down the trail, but I spotted another shot of the cliff of the beach that I was planning on heading down to, and think I still will, if we get time, of that cliff sort of popping out amongst kind of a sea of greenery and the leaves and trees. And I think it looks really cool. And there's a little bit of golden light hitting the peak of it, which I think will come out really nice. What I like about this scene too is we've got these sort of dried branches sort of popping up throughout the frame. And the way I've framed things, we've kind of got 2 sort of clusters of those dried branches on each side of the cliff. So my dark areas are saying 1/150th. Up in the sky we're getting 1/500th. That's at f8. So 1/150th, 1/500th, 1/250th should do the trick, I think. And there's light happening across the frame now, so I think I'm going to go for it. Actually, I need to get a little bit lower. You can see kind of the peak of a toilet block barely poking out of the forest. So if I drop my tripod a little bit, that should get rid of it. Okay, I don't think I can not get it in the frame actually in this angle. That's okay, you can only barely notice it. God, it's really annoying me though. I don't think there's any way I can not get it. Because if I go any lower, I'm gonna get this fence in the shot. That's alright. See, if I was shooting digital, I'd just Photoshop it out. If that works, I'm going to be stoked, because I think it'll look really cool. And if it doesn't work, I'll be sad. How fun is film? So now we've got about 45 minutes of light left, so I'm kind of thinking I don't really have enough time to go down to that other beach. Because by the time I get down there, it's sort of sheltered to the point where it's going to be a lot darker down there without any direct sunlight on it. So I'm kind of thinking I might hang around here. As the light changes, I'll be able to get some different compositions of that similar angle that we were doing before. I think that's probably my best play. Hopefully you guys don't mind every photo in this video probably being similar composition-wise, because I'm probably going to shoot a few more out in this direction down the coastline. As the light changes, I can see some kind of, I'm not sure if it's sanding going off the beach or fog rolling in. There's a little bit of kind of cloudy texture down further along the beach now that we can see a bit better. Now that the light's not so intense. You know what I've found that's cool about shooting film so far is that you don't really know if you should be in a bad mood or not until it's too late. You know when you're shooting digital and like, you know your photos aren't going well, so you're in a bit of a shit mood, and then the more photos you take, they're going to turn out pretty shit anyway because you're in a shit mood, which makes your mood even shit. With shooting film, I don't know if my photos are shit until it doesn't matter anymore. So it's kind of like delaying being in a bad mood. So I'm really liking what the waves are doing down here, so it's kind of catching a little bit of glow off the sunlight. So I'm just going to find a comp where I'm getting a lot of wave action happening and not too much sand or beach in the shot. Alright, we're going to try F11 1/250th, I think. Just going to wait for the right waves to roll in. And we'll see if we can get this photo. We're losing light pretty quickly now, so I'm going to have to start going a bit quicker. Which, you know what? Let's bracket this shot. So we're going to do it once at 1/500th. As some waves break, 1/500th. And then we'll do 1/250th. So I'm going to go for a wide shot again. And we're going to get a bit more of the beach in this time. And I think I'm going to try to put sort of that section of the coastline where those light rays are coming through towards the right of my frame. And then get those tracks in the sand again happening through the other side, sort of lead us all the way up around that coastline again like we've been doing. So I'm going to meter once. We'll do F11 for this one to start off with. That way I'll be able to hopefully get everything in focus all the way going down to the back of the frame relatively. So I'm going to meter for my bright area where the sun's popping through. Just telling me 1/500th of F16-ish. And then I'll just leave it at F16 as I meter. For the dark areas, that's telling me 1/100th. So I'm going to go to F16 in this case, and then pop my shutter right in the middle of those two at 1/250th. And I think that should balance out. The light's really cool now, so while I've got these photos left in the can, I might as well bracket and get these done. Just going to wait for a wave to roll through and sort of be hit by the light like that. Then I'm going to try it at F11 to brighten things, then go to 1/500th and try it at those settings as well. Just going to wait for a set of waves, which there might be one happening just here. Go quick while I've got the dark side out, please. There we go. So we're 20 minutes or so out from the sun setting. That's what we're dealing with out behind us. I'm kind of 50-50 on whether or not it will do anything miraculous. Those kind of high altitude clouds we're getting up there are usually what tend to take off when the sun sets in terms of colour happening. But as you can see, we've got those thick, dark lower clouds also kind of blocking things a bit. So I'm not sure. Leave a comment now, yes or no, do you think the sun will? I was mid-sentence, the camera just ended and someone walked up. But we had some photographer chat pleasantries, which is nice. What do you reckon? Oh yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking that. I don't know if it's gonna... There's plenty of high cloud behind all the thick stuff. See how we go? Medium format I'm doing at the moment. Yeah.
Good fun.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is that we're about 15 minutes from the sun setting, and that's what we're dealing with at the moment. You can see we've got a fair bit of high cloud, but it's kind of being a bit snuffed out by some darker stuff, especially right on the horizon. So I'm kind of 50-50 on whether or not it will do anything. So I thought it'd be fun right now, if you're watching, leave a comment, yes or no, will the sunset be good? Which is kind of subjective, I guess. Will I think the sunset is good? If you guess the answer correctly, I'll pick one person and send you a 6x4 print. If you'd want one, I don't know, you might not want a print. But if you want a print and you guess it correctly, and I then pick you as a random winner to win, I'll send you a print. Does that make sense? So from this point on, I didn't end up moving around too much. I was pretty happy with my composition, so I decided to just stay put while the sun went down. Unfortunately for the video, I wasn't able to film too much more from here on out because surprisingly it was time for round 2 of pleasantries. Yeah, it looks sort of overcast, but like it's popping through, which is awesome. Yeah. Because I've heard the name, I think, but I haven't shot down that way too much. Z6-2. Angle see there. Yeah. But as that was happening, I was able to keep one eye up on the sky and still get a few shots as the sun was going down, including this one here that I shot right as the sun was going over the horizon. And I think it's probably my favourite shot from the night. As I mentioned earlier, my goal today was sort of to try to get a bit better at metering and be able to get more of a balance between my shadows and my highlights. And I think in this shot I've really done what I was trying to achieve. At first when I saw it, I did think the foreground was a little bit dark, especially in terms of the patterns in the sand and the cliff, but the more I look at it, the more I love how it turned out. Now I actually quite like how those patterns in the sand are nice and shadowy and sort of fade off into the darkness as they run towards the cliffs. And I really like this kind of glowy halo-y effect we're getting around the sun. Unfortunately I have no idea what my settings were because I couldn't talk to the camera to be able to remember them, so please don't ask me what my settings were. But anyway, I would consider this a pretty nice sunset, so if you left a comment earlier, you're in the running to get a print. So I have this 6x4 print that I captured at Hopetown Falls earlier in the year. It's one of my favourite photos from 2022, so really keen to send it out to one of you guys. If you left a comment, even if you didn't, you can just cheat now and leave a comment. I'm not going to care. But yeah, if you guessed the sunset, I'll pick one of you guys randomly and send you this print out. Anyway, that's going to about do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this one. And thanks so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I'll see you guys very soon in the next one.